Hey everyone, it's me again and welcome to Faith's Faces. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my little corner of the internet. My name's Faith Grenade and I put makeup videos here on YouTube, and you should subscribe and hit that little bell icon down below. It'll notify you every time I upload so you don't miss a minute of this riveting action. And there's some action going on today. So this video was kind of accidental, but it ended up being a sort of happy accident. So I started out doing this as a pretty standard tutorial for a look I put up on Instagram recently that you guys really loved. Trust me guys, follow me on Instagram. It's where I put a lot of my experimental looks, and if you guys like them, I end up making tutorials out of them. But that's where most of my makeup goes, is on Instagram. You get to see looks there that you don't see on YouTube, so go check it out. It's at Faith Grenade. Just do it. I was recreating this look, and it started out as a normal, everyday Faith's Faces makeup tutorial, but then I stopped mid-makeup because I was noticing, I was like, why are my shadows being so temperamental? I was noticing that there was creasing and fading and the shadows weren't as pigmented as I remembered, and I was like, what's going on? And then I stopped and I thought, oh shit, I forgot eyeshadow primer. So you guys know, if you've been with this channel for any length of time, you know that eyeshadow primer is one of the most important elements in my makeup applying life. I have oily eyelids. Shadow will crease on me within the first 3 to 4 hours if I do not use a primer. There are plenty of different primers that I absolutely love, but today, for some reason, I was in such a rush to film that I totally forgot to put on eyeshadow primer, but that gave me an idea. So today I created the brightest, most colorful, vibrant look that I could conceivably come up with that I've done recently, because that's key. I wanted to compare how these shadows perform with and without a primer. So what I ended up doing is I recreated this exact look that I've done before, but the time I did the first time I did this look, I used an eyeshadow primer. This time I recreated the exact same look without using a primer, and I paid very careful attention to how each of the shadow brands performed without an eyeshadow primer. I looked at pigmentation, I looked at blendability, I looked at consistency, and I looked at longevity. The 3 brands that I used for today's look are basically the 3 brands that are sort of known for shadows that are extremely different and colorful and vibrant. Those 3 brands are Kat Von D, Jeffree Star, and Sugarpill. I took all 3 of those brands and put them to the ultimate test. Did they perform? Did they have the exact same pigmentation and blendability and consistency that they normally do for me, but without a primer? If you want to find out, and find out how to get this sick as hell galaxy nebula looking eye makeup, then just keep on watching, baby. Gonna reach into the Blood Sugar palette from Jeffree Star, and we're gonna start with Tongue Pop, which is this peachy color. This goes away pretty much immediately, and you never see her again, but I did it on the last eye. We're gonna do it on this eye too. But I'm gonna go into Cherry Soda here, right there. I'm gonna pack a decent amount on it because this brush is dirty now. But we're gonna start in the outer third of the lid and go into the crease, carrying up quite a bit, carrying down and through the middle here, because we're gonna blend some purple into that later on, and some blue and some fun stuff. Dip into Intravenous with the same brush. Back over here, this deep dark brown that kind of has a plummy tone to it when put over this red. And I'm just gonna put that over top. I just realized that I didn't put any eye primer on. That's probably why these shadows are creasing and being patchy. Anyway, I'm gonna dip into Blood Sugar, which is this guy right there. It's a shimmery red, and I'm gonna pack this on the lid. Again, we're gonna skip the inner corner because we're gonna be putting something else there. Moving right along, I'm gonna take another shader brush and I'm gonna dip into the Kat Von D Divine palette and I'm gonna dip into the shade Waters, this guy. This is gonna be our inner corner shade. And we're gonna blast this all through the inner corner. So we're starting on the inner corner, carrying on to the lower lash line quite a bit. And I'm also pulling upward. You see that? So I'm taking this and pulling it up through the upper part of the eye. And you can see when I don't have a primer, these shadows are so patchy and so inconsistent in pigment. It's frustrating. I'm cleaning my brush on the Vera Mona color switch. It's not going to clean completely, but it does take some of the pigment out of it. It just leaves staining behind, so I don't contaminate my colors. And then we're gonna ignore all this creasage. How did red eyeshadow get under there? I have no idea. So I'm going to use a third eyeshadow palette because why the fuck not? I'm gonna dip into my Sugarpill Pro palette and I'm gonna dip into Poison Plum, which is that right there. This is one of the best purples on the face of the planet. I adore it and it's great. So I'm gonna take that and we're gonna go right in here. And we're gonna move starting in sort of soft circular motions back and forth. Sugarpill, by the way, not patchy without a primer. Blending is really going to be crucial in this look because you're using a bunch of colors that can very easily look like you got punched in the face if you don't blend properly. That purple is on. I'm going to start working the lower lash line a little bit. I'm going to reach into the Blood Sugar palette again and I'm going to reach into Root Canal, which is this sort of lighter purple here, and I'm going to clean off my Smith Cosmetics 253 brush. I love these little paddle brushes because they have those slants and they do great lower lash line work. So I'm going to take that on one of the slants of the brush and then work that right next to the blue. Y'all can't see me. But I'm working it right next to the blue and onto the lower lash line a little bit. Now when that purple mixes with that blue, it's going to make a darker purple that looks kind of like Poison Plum a little bit, but that's what we want, so don't panic. I'm going to clean off that same brush and I'm going to dip into Cherry Soda, which was our original red shade here, again on one of the slants. And we're going to take that over the rest of the lash line back here. But I'm going to dip back into Poison Plum again on that same little brush and we're going to stack that over the red. And you can see it blends with the red very nicely into this sort of nifty magenta fuchsia monstrosity. I'm going to take another brush because I'm a masochist who likes giving myself millions of brushes to clean, and I'm going to take Sugarpill Lumi because it's always Lumi time. Sugarpill Lumi is one of my absolute favorite pigments ever. It is an iridescent teal with a white base, and I'm going to put this into the inner corner. And then with whatever you have extra on the brush, just sort of stamp it up into the upper inside nose bridge, just over the part that's still blue. And not only will that make it look less patchy without a primer, but it will also kind of make the appearance of stars, which I definitely got it when some of my friends were like, dude, this eye look reminds me of a galaxy. It's really cool. And I was like, yeah, you know what? It kind of does. And then I wanted to bring a little bit of depth and darkness to the outer corner. So I went in with Hard Magic, which is the black from the Kat Von D Divine palette. It's okay. It's not the best black I've ever used in the whole entire world. And without a primer, these Kat Von D shadows really have a hard time blending. With a primer, they're fine. But without one, girl, you're gonna have a hard time blending. So I just fluff this all throughout the outer corner, bringing a little bit of structure and shape to the outside. And then I'm going to take a fairly clean blending brush, going to pop a little cherry soda on it and use it to blend that black out on the outside and reestablish the red color out here. Because things can take a little turn for the purple if you're not careful, and we want that red to stay there because part of what makes this look so cool looking is that change and that contrast from red to purple. Lashes and mascara, because I don't really do liner that much at all. I don't need to. But the last time I did this look, I used the Ardell Demi Wispies lashes in the wine shade. I'm probably not going to do that this time because honestly, they didn't really show through. I am going to put some mascara on and some falsies, but I'm probably going to stick to the Ardell 113s or something similar to that, you know, something a little longer that's going to show up a little bit more. But I'm going to do all of that off camera, and I'm going to come back to finish out the look for you guys. Okay, so my face is done. We'll do a quick breakdown of the different shadows I used. I'll go ahead, I mean my complexion is stupidly simple, so I'm not gonna bore you with that, but I am gonna go ahead and rank the shadows. Worst performing shadow without a primer, Kat Von D. Without a doubt. The shadows were harder to apply, they were harder to blend, they were patchy. The patchiness was a pretty big problem, and granted, again, this is not an issue with this palette with an eyeshadow primer, but if you don't have an eyeshadow primer, avoid this one. They patched immediately, they creased almost immediately. You can see them already starting to crease and fade. Like, look at that black. What is that? Second place is Jeffree Star's Blood Sugar palette. The mattes here perform fine without a primer. They did fine. The shimmer, the Blood Sugar shade that I put all over the lid, did end up fading and not being as pigmented as I wanted, so I went ahead and put another shadow over top to sort of help boost it a little bit. I did that off camera, and without a doubt the winner of the 3 shadow brands I used today was Sugarpill. Sugarpill performed beautifully. It performed exactly the same without a primer as it does with a primer. Lumi did great as long as it's applied wet, which is pretty standard. And Asylum, which is a metallic red shade, was actually what I ended up putting on the lid to sort of make up for the fading in Blood Sugar, and it's done beautifully. The loose shadows, again, apply them wet, and they'll do just fine without a primer. With a primer, you don't even need to apply them wet. You can apply them bone dry and they'll work just fine. So, yeah, of the 3 brands I used today, Sugarpill is definitely the clear winner for shadow performance without a primer. Now I'm going to go ahead and put on a lip for you guys, and we're going to finish this puppy up. There we go, guys. Here is the finished look. I really do still like this look. I like how it came out. But man, oh man, was that a battle. I mean, it took significantly longer to get shadows to blend than it normally would. By the way, the lip color I'm wearing today is the Sephora Cream Lip Stain in one of the new shades. They just came out with a bunch of new shades. Most of them are metallics, but they did come out with a few new matte colors. And this is the new shade Stone Blue. I love. There you go, guys. I encourage you guys to do this challenge too. If you have shadows that you absolutely love, but you're an eyeshadow primer addict like I am, go ahead, take some of your favorite shadows, create an identical look to one you've done before, only do it without using an eye primer, and see which of the shadows in your collection really do perform. So, without further ado, the thing I always forget to do, let's do some awkward posing. Awkward posing. Looking down, looking forward, looking fierce for the next 10 minutes until this all creases. I hope you guys found this video helpful, informative, or entertaining. If you did, there's a button for that. Spank that like button in the butt. You know it deserves it. And if you want to see more from me, you've got a couple options now. You can click the videos on either side of my head to binge if you're bored or bummed out, or hey, you can click that button that looks like my face and subscribe and become a member of the Faithful today. I put out new videos every Sunday, and if you really love me and you want to keep these videos going for the long term, I've got a Patreon. Link down below. I appreciate your support. Thank you guys so much for watching and joining me today, and I will see you in the next video with eyeshadow primer. Toodles!